that cool
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Welcome to Plat Chat. This is an episode we didn't prepare to do.
1500.
Johnny just threw the episode live.
Yeah, because we're late.
This guy's crazy.
Go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Host. Yeah, see, you're playing Fortnite. You're playing Fortnite. We're supposed to record a podcast. We're late to the podcast, and you're sitting in a Fortnite game. Yeah. Matt!
Bren has 15 minutes to be late. Why don't I have 15 minutes to be late?
Because that's not how being late works.
Why am I punished?
No, you're not. Well, we were all.
Plat Chat episode 259.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this fine morning. We're gonna get this started pretty quickly. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of rumors, a lot of trade.
Wow, this is super professional from you, Bren.
It really
a lot
is.
of juice, which I don't know if we can.
Bren threw up
talk
a
about.
black backdrop and became a professional.
I think we're moving
and
Bren to
you
the
know what
top
else
left
is
corner in the
professional?
UI. So
Take a look at
he's
these
the host.
fucking guns, baby.
Sure.
Yep,
What I love
okay.
most about when Bren flexes is that he uses push to talk, so you can't hear him just like gas himself up at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Overwatch. That's what we're here to do with some of my friends and Johnny.
I love that they're cutting grass outside my
I can hear the grass
window.
in your mic.
This is. Hey, remember when we decided to move it to the morning?
Okay, which one is the best Halloween skins? I'm the host now. Which one is the best Halloween skin? I'm gonna say Ash. Good luck.
Best Halloween
No.
skin?
I honestly, I don't give that much of a fuck about the skins.
What?
Wait,
no,
what?
so
No.
These are some of the best skins
I
they've
think
added.
this
to
is
the
That's
the
a
game.
best
bad
they've
take.
That is a bad take.
No,
That's
no,
a
I'm
bad
not
take,
saying
like
that,
saying
I'm not
Lego
saying
Bastion
they're
is
bad.
bad.
I'm just saying I don't really care for them that much.
I would
What
say
is this
they
year?
leveled up the skins in a big way this go around. I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
There were
Ooh,
two skins.
I don't know.
I never normally buy skins, and I bought two of them. I say
Yeah,
bought.
what'd
I
you buy?
didn't spend money on it. But
Yeah,
I
sure.
bought
Yeah,
two
it's
of
fair
them.
enough. Here's my hot take. I think there were 2 to 3 like super good skins to get everyone hyped up, and then there's a few skins that they look sort of like epic, but they're still legendary. Like the Tracer skin is pretty sick with like all the motion graphics or whatever, but it sort of looks like an epic skin that's just barely a legendary. But then you
Wait,
have
what-
like skins like
How are you
Ash
making
and
that?
Orisa.
How are you making that distinction? What does
Yeah,
an epic
well-
skin look like?
Well, an
versus-
epic skin is usually just like a recolor.
Ah, right. I see.
It's just
that
like
that was a unique model. She's got like a thing out of her chest, doesn't she?
Yeah, she got a pumpkin
yeah.
and stuff, but it's not like legendary. It's not like like a big shock. Like Orisa and Ash are just like super sick skins.
They're so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think the Junkrat skin looks better than some of the legendaries.
Oh God, no. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the epic Junkrat, the Inferno Junkrat. I think it looks better than some of the legendary
Ah.
skins.
That's
I
like-
actually said I would say the Inferno Junkrat's probably the one I like the least.
Wait,
Yeah, I think-
what?
It looks
Yeah.
like you just got
Boring.
dipped in. It looks like one of those reskins, you know, you got in like.
Don't we have
Source
another
mods.
hero who's got a skin like that?
Yo, he looks lit.
Well, he looks lit as in he's on fire, but he
Yeah.
doesn't.
He
Oh.
looks like a Black Hand skin like Doomfist, but for Junkrat. Like
I think it's super
Yeah.
cool.
I tell you what, I really like the.
It's better than the Widow
Scorpion
skin.
Yeah, no. What? You don't like the
Like,
Widow
this
skin,
guy
Johnny?
he
Yeah.
has the most Papega skin takes on the podcast.
No.
Why
I
don't
really
you
don't
like?
wanna talk
Why
about
do you like
skins,
the
and
Widow
he's
skins?
coming out with these Papega ass.
Why do you like the
takes
skin? It's
all
just
the time.
brown. It's just a scaly brown Widowmaker skin.
It's
Have
a
you even looked at it?
scorpion.
you even
Scaly
looked at it?
brown. It's fucking golden.
Dude, did
and
you
it's
see
scorpion.
also the venom mine, the little venom mine on the floor has
Yeah.
like a scorpion's tail on it?
How good is
It
that?
looks
Oh,
Everything-
yeah,
everything-
I love standing in a game and looking at my Venom mine.
Bro,
That's what I did
the
yesterday.
gun model is like an arachnid, like insect-esque kind of
Yeah.
Zerg model. It looks
It's so
dope.
good.
She's got like this face mask on. It's
No.
a dope skin.
No,
Yo,
like the
oh-
epic Lucio skin is better because the epic Lucio skin has
Yeah, at the
snakes
end of the
coming out of
day,
the hair.
guys,
It has literal
at the end of
snakes
the
in the
day,
hair.
guys,
It's
Why
awesome.
are
It's like a
we,
Medusa.
why are we paying attention to
I
Johnny
want-
when he didn't like the Lego Bastion skin?
Yeah,
agree.
it's
Yep, I
true.
agree.
He
That's what I
should
wanna
be.
know.
We should mute Johnny whenever we talk about skins from now on.
No, like what? Chat agrees
I
with
will
me.
say, though,
Chat
the-
and the
the
listeners
Gorgon
agree with me. I'm a man of the people.
One person.
They agree
The
with me.
Lucio
27.
Gorgon skin, I actually
Man
do
of the-
like. I think the snakes in his hair is pretty sick.
Yeah.
The problem is the rest of it is kind of generic.
I wish they gave it to another hero though, because I'm never gonna play it. Because I'm never gonna play Lucio.
Well,
I
you're
mean,
you're
I
not
like the skin, but
Lucio. I love playing Lucio. I think it's
The
a super fun hero.
Widowmaker's scorpion tail on the back of her head like moves as she moves. It's got like jiggle physics. It's
the
awesome.
Orisa one. I mean, dear God, they are trying to get people to like Orisa. I mean, that skin
Yeah.
is dope. Still
Yeah,
ain't
it's
get me
super
to play still ain't get me to play Orisa.
I'll play
that.
Orisa all day.
I have to play Orisa.
I'll play that Battle Reinhardt, dog. Sigma Rein. Sign me up.
Yeah. When was the last time we got a
TCM was
Reinhardt
pretty
skin?
good.
I'm so sad, dude. When was the last time we got a Reinhardt? We got a lot of Reinhardt skins like the start of the game, and then when I got washed up, they just like, Reinforce not playing Reinhardt anymore. We're just gonna stop making Reinhardt
Even
skins.
the Ana skin's really good with the mummy wraps. Like,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
good.
think that's that great. in
Wait,
my
what
opinion.
is that take? How do you allow him to have takes like this?
It's just you
What?
just wrapped her in bandages, and it's very default. It's like the classic Halloween thing is, oh, I'm gonna look like a mummy.
But no,
Ah.
you complain about my takes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
yeah, I mean the Junkrat
There
one's
was-
kind of bad.
There was
Yeah.
a direct quote from you, Johnny, saying the Lego Bastion skin is too blocky.
Yeah. He's literally made of blocks.
I
How do
will
you guys
say,
feel- how do
people
you feel about
backtracked a bit
the-
on the Bastion skin, but
How do
okay.
you feel about the Sombra skin, the one that was like the BlizzCon virtual
I'm a
ticket
bit
one now
annoyed.
being? Because I liked having that and other people
Yeah.
not having it.
Yeah, I like the exclusivity of it. I liked having that skin, and I liked being better than everyone else because it was a dope skin. But then the
Yeah.
fact that they're re-releasing it kind of feels a little bit. I don't know.
Here's the
Uh,
distinction
lazy.
I make. It's not really like a mount in World of Warcraft. It's like if you see someone with a Demon Hunter Sombra skin, I don't really care. I don't really think about that. Maybe people
Yeah.
in Quick Play do or whatever. But in World of Warcraft, if someone has like one of those Arctic bears, with a flag and the Murloc
Yeah,
or
the
whatever,
BlizzCon bear,
from like
yeah.
BlizzCon 2007, I'm like, holy shit, this guy has an insane mount that's probably worth
Yeah.
like $500 or like $1,000, like real money, like this is a super rare skin.
But isn't
In
that
Overwatch,
because
I don't
of
really
the
think about
age?
that, so I don't really mind that they're.
Because Overwatch is still young in your head that you think of like it like that.
I don't think so. Skins are harder to see in Overwatch, and they don't have monetary value because they can't be like traded on an open market. So I think it's just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't hold as much prestige or elitism, I think, to have these kind of skins.
If
Unless it was dope. Like if it was the Demon Orisa or something, if it was like an absolute S tier skin,
yeah, sure.
then
You
maybe
need
you'd
to kind of
be
be
able to pay
super bummed
attention to
about
it.
it.
Yeah, no one really cares about Sombra, but maybe if it was like a Reinhardt skin or something. I'm just a Reinhardt player, but if there was, okay, that's actually an interesting discussion. If there was trading card game skins for Overwatch, would you buy the cards in real life so you could get the super rare skins? If they were super lit, Josh, not just your typical
No, I
average
just
skin.
don't understand. I don't
buy
understand the
trading
concept.
cards, bro. Yeah. What kind of
Let
Well,
me-
cards?
that's
let
how
me
you get
explain, let me
that's how you get like the
explain, let me
rare tabards and mounts in World of Warcraft,
Let me
right?
explain. In World of Warcraft, there was a system in place. I don't know if it's still in place, where
No,
if
they
you
got
bought a
rid of it.
trading card pack, you had a chance of getting a specific card in it with
Ah.
a code which you could type in the game to unlock a in-game cosmetic.
Yeah.
And people sold these cards for hundreds and hundreds
So
of
what
Yeah.
you're
So it was
saying
the
is kind
original
of like
loot
loot
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
but
much, yeah.
Shitty version of
But
it.
IRL.
It was a loot box where you had to go to a shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you actually
I
get
can
to keep the
definitely
card
see-
in real
I
life
can
as well.
definitely see that coming back. Yeah, definitely. For sure. Kids are freaking out about cards now.
No, but you're not
they do
you're
love
not your
them,
typical
actually.
nerd, Matt.
The
Me?
what is it? Baseball cards and fucking Premier League cards and stuff like that. They are
Just
actually popular.
fucking dweebs.
Matt
collecting
is
those
just a
cards.
wannabe
Just
nerd.
fucking dweebs.
Just dweebs.
I love sports, bro. I ain't never collected sports.
You're
trading
also
cards.
30.
Yeah, and also I had to live to get to 30, right? So like I existed when like cards were a thing and the internet wasn't.
I'm
And
just
even
saying
then,
there were a lot of people
Okay.
collecting Pokemon.
they
cards.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you never collect Pokemon cards or anything, Matt?
I had like a few.
You had a few. I bet you had
Because other
an
kids had
entire
them.
cupboard full of them.
No.
Dude, Matt, I've seen fucking pictures of you when you're a kid. You were the biggest dwarf.
Dwarf.
A dwarf.
A dwarven orc.
A
The
dwarf.
biggest dweeb I've known. I don't know how I got dwarf from dweeb.
Oh, dude,
Dwarf.
yeah, I look like a total dweeb, but I wasn't.
I know how I mixed dork and dweeb. That's how.
Amazing.
And now that Johnny's taken down us a fake Overwatch trading card game, Johnny, you've been on fire today, by the way. You've stuck up for the Junkrat skin. You pushed the stream live without telling everybody and not even giving the opportunity for us to tweet it out.
I was accidentally
we're just-
muted.
So now we're just sitting here. You sabotaged the show from the inside out.
I just really wanted you to say something so you could get fired.
Oh, well, I mean, it wouldn't have happened. I'm too good.
I'm just saying, if you
talk about,
ass ramen.
we can talk about Overwatch League now. I think we're done with the game, right?
really,
Are there
What
other
do you wanna
things
talk
going
about?
on, Johnny?
what
You
about the
wanna talk
patch
about,
notes?
You want to talk about the event?
Oh,
we
well,
can
I
go
think
through
we went
that.
through the patch notes last time,
We
didn't
went
we?
through them and they're on the
Okay, so have you
No, I
tried the
see,
patch notes
so-
out? What do you think? Have you actually? I mean, you were
Yeah.
streaming
I
yesterday,
haven't had
Sideshow.
a- I
Have you
haven't had a
assessed
chance to
anything?
play.
I'm going to be the host of this show moving forward because I'm the only one who actually follows Overwatch and sees what's going on.
Oh,
Matt's
this
over
is
here
true.
playing Fortnite. Bren's over here
well,
flexing, spending so much time in the gym,
Johnny's the
Apex. You know,
father of
like
Overwatch, dude.
I'm trying
Justice
to talk
for
about patch
reinforced.
notes, and you guys shut the fuck up. All right.
Go on, Bren.
Hey,
Go on,
Yeah,
Bren.
Brent's
Calling
the
people
patch
out?
notes guy.
I don't think these patch notes will change anything for BlizzCon.
No, they're not.
You mean in terms of the pro meta?
In terms of the nerfs, yeah, the pro meta, like this, they really did kind of gut Sigma, but he's still very powerful. Like
oh,
we're still seeing double shield.
I
and
don't
I
think
putting
think
out the
it's
shield now
dangerous.
is
Either.
Huh?
Like he can still pull off a 200 HP damage combo, right?
yeah.
So that
Yeah.
isn't really gutting. I mean, he's
Well,
still
no,
so powerful.
Well, there's the patch notes.
Alt. Like,
No, Matt, there's plenty.
Right, but usually when we discuss the patch notes, we discuss whether it's going to impact
Yeah.
the wider
The-
game.
I mean, what was on the Reddit a couple of days ago? Was it from Fusions? He said he'd been
Yeah.
scrimming with Team UK, and
He said there was nothing different.
yeah, it was just Arista Sigma the entire time. It does take a while for the pros to catch
Yeah.
up, you know, and actually experiment and stuff. But it seems to me like the kind of PTR patch, or not PTR patch, I guess it's live now, where it just makes it more fun to play dumb shit in ranked. Like
Yeah.
in Diamond, you don't actually have to play the meta. You can play some
yes,
weird
yeah.
yes,
shit.
you do. Yes, you do.
I don't think so.
I
I've
played 10 games yesterday, and every
Okay.
game where my team was not playing double shield and they were, we lost.
Okay, I
Oh,
will
wow.
counter by saying that I played 10 games yesterday and we went 8-2 playing only off meta stuff.
So there you go, Josh.
Who are you
Doesn't
playing
bring-
with?
I was playing with my viewers, just random.
There you
people.
go,
Oh,
getting boosted by
you're
fucking
carrying.
Games
They're
Smurf.
not getting boosted. They were all
Dude, no, he was getting boosted
Actually
by
getting
this,
boosted.
this fucking Wally fucking tank dude, fucking just
Yeah. This guy-
blasting fools.
This guy we had on tank, Reinhardt player, the likes of which I've never seen before in my
He
life.
said he
I'm
was
sorry,
better
Johnny,
than
I'm not
Johnny. He
trying
said
to
he was
shade,
better than Johnny.
he was just amazing. He was hitting pins out of nowhere. He was just laying down the fat shatters on everyone.
Well, we only get the worst versions of Reinforce. He doesn't want to give us the good version.
No,
That's
I'm not
true.
playing Tank and Diamond, yeah. But
Chelsea just
Yeah.
opened the door. We're live, Chelsea.
I can't state that it's impossible to carry you as Lucio or on DPS. But
Yes.
as tank, it's probably pretty possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Bren. I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes before BlizzCon because it's such a short turnaround. But I do think that over time we might see a few more
This
changes
is,
in the meta. I can see some more like variability, like flexibility between the DPS heroes, especially.
It's a
Like we'll
filler
see more
patch.
Sombra, more Pharah, more those kind of heroes. I think like because Sigma's barrier nerf is not that big. But having played Sigma at like a Grandmaster level, it's so frustrating with that one second cooldown.
It's a filler
It's
patch
so
before BlizzCon.
frustrating. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
filler patch, but
It's a filler patch before BlizzCon.
I could
And
see
it-
a team like China just come out and just like, nope, we're not gonna play double shield.
Yeah,
We're
so
going to wreck
something
Do you
fools.
think that we will? Do you think that we will still have this patch, this meta, with the Overwatch League next year?
No.
No,
I think
there
it's
has to be a
I
patch.
think it's likely.
Why do you think it's likely? There's still another.
They're not going to
year
patch
left.
the game for 3 months, 4,
Because
whatever it is.
last year we had goats.
If
And they
it
tried to
goes on the same patch and hero release sequence and stuff like that, I think there's a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, last year at BlizzCon we had goats, and then we said, "Oh, probably not gonna have goats for the Overwatch League." And then we had goats for.
Well, I
three
think that was
stages.
a
Unless,
fundamental balance issue with triple tank, triple support. Like that was not like heroes being overpowered. That was just like the design of having
but now you have a
unlimited
fundamental
flexibility in
balance.
roles.
But now you
Just
have a
like
fundamental balance issue with barriers, though.
Do you?
well,
I mean, you
that's
only
easy
have
to
two
scale
heroes.
back
'Cause
in a very
everybody
different
has
way.
barriers. I mean, yeah, you'd have to scale them back, but then how does that feel? Like they want to create you need to create a sweet spot where like the barriers are effective, and there makes no sense to not play a barrier tank, and then when double barriers not oppressive, like that's the issue.
But it's so much easier to kill than goats.
Yeah,
like all you would have to
absolutely.
do is make Sigma's shield deploy really slowly, or Arissa's shield deploy really slowly, and suddenly the comp is poo. And so
Yeah.
there's a somewhere between.
right, but
like,
that's
where
like
they are now.
but that's like basically just kill one of those two heroes, like, and then
No,
good.
I think that it's easier to balance out the barriers than it is to balance out goats without
yes,
ruining
question,
specific
without question.
heroes. So
Because you can
I
never,
have
you can never
faith.
balance that.
I have had faith in Blizzard for 3 years. Sometimes to my
Never led you
demise,
wrong.
sometimes
Never led
to
you
for some good things. They've been really good in the past, so like, and currently too. So, well, it's up and downs, okay? But I believe. I put my faith in Blizzard, and I believe that we can get over this hump, and we will see the promised land where Genji is viable,
Yes.
McCree is viable, Winston is viable, Reinhardt is viable.
Now everyone
Make
drink
sure
the
you
holy
get the,
bread and
make
drink
sure
the
you
wine.
get the hashtag ad in at the end.
Do you know if there's any more Kool-Aid in the fridge?
It is, guy, dude.
Yo, I'm just trying to stay optimistic. Like, everyone's just complaining on Twitter, and I was like, yo, who's hyped for the World Cup? And I got like 1,500 likes, and I was like, yeah, get excited. Like, good shit's happening.
I actually agree with that,
Positivity.
Johnny. There's a lot of
Yeah.
negativity right
Yeah.
now online. All I'm seeing from people is negativity. Shut the fuck up and uninstall the game and delete your social media, you little bitch.
Wouldn't that?
That's
wouldn't
it.
that
That's
be
the episode.
That'd be throwing negativity right back at them.
Yeah, because fuck off. Nobody wants to hear it. Like it's cool to be negative these days. Fuck off.
Yeah, it is
Fuck
kind of
off.
whack. It is kind of whack.
You know,
Just
some
being all
people might
negative.
say that framing things negatively might promote people to move in a more positive or helpful direction in certain areas, but sure.
I will actually say that.
No. Because have you seen the
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
stuff that
no,
we've
no.
seen online?
Yeah.
No.
Like some of the social media posts from people, like it's actually been absurd.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they see you.
Like they're
Yeah.
talking like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
think the
My
game's
God.
taking over. I mean,
I will
They-
say
I
that
mean-
Bren whipped me into positivity jail.
and like they don't understand like Call of Duty, right? Like Call of Duty releases a new game every year, but they don't get the same type of balance updates consistently that Overwatch does. Like Hero
Yeah, that's true.
releases, like the maps, like the DLC, you have to buy that. So then Overwatch is all free. Like there's so much positive that goes on, but then
Yeah, you
it's
just take it for
people
granted.
just complain. Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
everyone loves to complain. What
Are
are
you
waiting
talking
for?
about like the optimism of Call of Duty, where you get changes all the time, or what? Because
No,
every
I'm talking
time
about how
I
good-
hear
I'm
Call of
talking about how
Duty,
good
it's
I'm talking about how good
complaining
it is
about how
on-
the game gets worse every year.
Right, but I'm talking about how good it is on Overwatch compared to Call of Duty.
Oh, okay, sorry. I zoned
Yeah.
out for a minute. So I shouldn't talk.
It's okay. No. No.
Johnny's gone
Well-
within the
well, I
span
did
of
love-
10
I did
minutes
love
from
how-
I'm a host to I shouldn't talk.
Yeah, and then also the fact that before the patch notes, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's not going to change anything." And then he's like, "Well, how do you know that? We have to talk about it." And then 2 seconds later, he's like, "Yeah, I don't think it's going to change much." like,
No, I said on a short-term basis. In the long term, I can see changes. Or you're not even listening to what I'm saying. This is why people in the YouTube comments complain about our podcast, because we don't
Anyone
listen
can
to
say
each
that.
other. We just talk over each other and we
do you
don't
think
listen.
Bren, do you think the game's going to change in the long term?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
see?
That's a good point.
Okay.
Good
good
Also,
point,
Johnny,
yeah.
what are you
Good
doing
point.
looking at YouTube comments? We talked
Yeah.
about this.
Well, audio issues and stuff. Oh yeah, I should have probably
You
erased
You
the
haven't
volume
even
for
tested
you
the
guys.
audio. It's like the 20th episode.
No.
Because we were
Johnny-
live for like
The level's
late.
going to be all over the place.
Johnny's just, he's ruined this episode.
Look, I
This
raised
is,
you guys by 3
Plat Chat-
decibel.
Plat
I think
Chat
that's more than enough.
episode reinforced sabotage. Audio issues.
That's the
though.
title.
I
Yeah.
got one of these. Oh fuck! I hit my other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've actually just ordered one of those as
You
well.
gotta
In
set
fact,
it up.
Yeah.
it's downstairs in
Yeah, I ordered
in
one
your
as well.
apartment block.
Oh well, now that I know there's a second one there, I can go take the fries and return. for
No,
200 bucks.
don't steal my.
Don't
my,
mind if I do. Is it addressed to Brennan Hook?
It is, yeah,
Oh yeah, I saw
Wait,
that
really?
box.
yeah,
Oh, I was so confused. I was like,
Max,
why is there a
you can pick that
package for
up, we
Bren
appreciate
here?
it.
yeah.
Ah,
I
I
used
pick it
I
up.
used Bren's Amazon Prime because I'm too poor to
Yeah.
afford
Yo,
Amazon
you know,
Prime.
your mic arrived before mine did, and I ordered mine a day before you.
What can I say? I'm a legend.
I'll give
Jeff
give
Bezos,
Bren's
he loves me.
I'll give Bren's mic a try. Keep mine in the box. See how it is. Can we talk about the Overwatch League? Is that okay, Johnny?
Yeah.
we
We've
have to
actually
run-
covered a lot of the general Overwatch stuff, and I'm happy about that.
Run all our segments in front of our producers. Bren eats that. Looks hideous. Whatever you're eating.
I
He,
think it's some
he
kind
buys a
of ramen.
Sure SM7B, and then he eats instant ramen noodles.
Paris
They were
releasing.
just in the Philly pantry, mate. I'm not fussy. I just needed some.
Oh, the
carbs.
carpet juice. Let's go.
Let's talk about Harsha.
Yes,
Harsha the
yeah.
Outlaws. I like that move. Obviously, I think we'd all be a little bit biased that we do like Harsha, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was speaking to him about this at
I think
Tip of
he's a
the
good fit.
Hats. I think this is really good. I said to him, I hope you didn't take this deal without full control of the Outlaws roster.
Yes.
And he just kind of smiled at me, so he neither confirmed nor denied it. But the
Are you
one thing I'd
flaming
be
someone
worried
here?
about. What?
Never mind.
The one thing I'd be concerned with.
I like the pun, Johnny. I got it. It was nice.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
I
I'm so
get
dumb.
it.
I'm so dumb. The one thing
Johnny's jokes are so we've been so numb to Johnny's jokes that even the good ones fall flat.
I'd be concerned with over the last couple of years though, because Tyrone has been the coach for this team, right? And because they've had issues with the budget of the Outlaws group, where they haven't been able to like hire or fire anyone, they've just kind of been on a freeze in terms of the budgeting. They've been in this echo chamber for 2 years, where it's been like Clockwork, Flame, and Tyrone, or just kind of pseudo coaching, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'd be worried that's so ingrained in the culture of the Houston Outlaws that Harsha might have a hard time changing.
Well, if you're
Yes.
Harsha, you have to go in there right away and you have to set the expectations. Like Clockwork is the assistant coach. Flame is, I guess, like their president or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like they can be in they can be around the team while they're practicing and during the games, but no, should Flame give his like he needs to be in control of that ship.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's actually going to have a bit of a hard time, but hopefully the Houston Outlaws will be able to make enough changes. The
I
team
don't think
culture
they're-
changes a little bit.
I don't think they're a difficult team to turn around, though. I think we talked about this like last week. It's like, can you add an off tank, another damage dealer, and maybe upgrade it to like one of the support roles and then come back like and be competitive? I think you could.
Yeah. Well, according
Yeah,
to the Juice, this is going to be a pretty good team. So we'll see.
Does the
but,
Juice say it's going to be a pretty good team?
Yeah.
I
That's a
think
lot
it
of
could
them
be.
freshly
Care to
squeezed.
release any of that news?
Rouge hung to Houston.
I would
think-
actually love to see that. I don't know
Should
why.
be
It doesn't make
legendary.
any sense because this is a team that has
Just
prided
throw
themselves on
all
just.
the fan favorites on the fucking Outlaws.
That would be
Fuck
hilarious.
it. Just
Oh my
go
God.
ham.
I think it seems likely to me that they are going to make two support changes though. Like you can't.
Well,
They've already Banny
Yeah.
and Boink are free agents, and then you've got Raucus there as well. It doesn't seem likely to me that they end up fielding Raucus for next year if they have real aspirations of being able to, compete at the top and turn.
I think he's on the team.
Yeah. I think he just sits on the bench though for the majority of the time.
Yeah.
If I was going to make an upgrade there, I would try and. If you're going to replace one support, you might as well replace them both and try and
Yes.
really have like a solid support backline, and then an off tank would be fantastic to be able to round that out.
Right. I think if you came back with an upgraded support core and a new off tank and you still had like Muma, Dante, Linkser, and maybe I would probably look for another damage dealer as well, because Linkser can be like so up and down
Yeah.
at times. I think you have a decent chance of making the play-ins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at least top 12. Like I think you're kind
I
of
would agree. I think you're in the top
Yeah.
half of the season at that point.
I think we have to talk big picture as well. I mean, this is a team that lacked management structure for a very long time, and I think that affected the mood of the team as a whole as well. So I think this is a team that's sort of looking for a fresh
But-
start in many ways when it comes to like coaching structure as well, but just like upper management and like the people running the team, because there's
But-
been a lot of chaos surrounding this team, and I think they just want to like play the game, focus on the game, and not have to worry about like
But I will
ownership
say,
or all of that stuff.
all the things that went wrong with like the Outlaws, like that you could say, like whether it was like whether you didn't love the roster, the things with the management not being able to change coaches and whatnot, they got like the hardest thing right. It's like people give a shit about the Outlaws. Like that's
Yeah.
literally the hardest thing for like teams to get now, is for people
Yeah.
to care and people to want to show up
I'll,
to cheer for them. The Outlaws have one of the strongest fan bases in the league. They start to
True.
win,
Yeah.
that'll grow even further. Like they got the hard stuff right. Like that's how I think if you're an
I'll
Outlaws
also
fan,
say-
frustrating, probably.
I'll also say with this team, I had
Yeah.
zero expectations coming into this season,
And they were all
and
right.
they exceeded that. I mean,
Yeah.
they
They
weren't
exceeded
great,
it
but-
this
with the
season. They
0-7
were
stage
dire
2.
dog shit this season.
If
for
they
a
didn't
while.
go, if they didn't go,
Yeah, I
if
was-
they didn't
mate,
go
I was
0-7
expecting them-
that stage, they would have been in the plans.
I
But
was
they did,
expecting
Matt.
them
They
to
went
be-
0-7 in one of their stages, and they were lucky to.
If
Yeah,
this
they won't
losing
forgive the
team
shit.
didn't lose, they'd win.
But we were able to get the Shanghai
I-
Dragons.
I
they
was-
lost 40 straight games, dog, and we were able
Yeah,
to
but
forget
Sean,
them.
I was
Just don't
expecting
use
way
Shanghai as a
worse,
measuring
Josh. I was
stick.
expecting way worse, Josh.
You
And
were
they-
expecting way worse.
Yeah.
What you expect, like a 3-win season?
Bro, the stories I had heard from this team behind the scenes, I was expecting this team to go 0-40. They were the new Shanghai. Like, can you disagree with me?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting them to go 0-40,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess yes, I do
well, there's
disagree
not
with you.
40
I
games.
don't
But
know. They
But I
brought
did
in
expect them to end in
Dante.
like, I thought they'd end in like 17th, 18th, and I guess they ended in 16th. So I guess they outperformed my expectations.
Yeah,
But you look at the teams underneath them. Toronto, absolutely awful this season. Washington and Florida, both absolutely awful. And
dreadful.
then Boston, who totally shit the bed, which is, in my opinion, a bit surprising that Boston totally shit the bed this season in the manner that they did. But that's, I mean, they're not down there with good company.
Nah, they're not, are they?
Yeah. Oh well.
No.
Good luck, Harsha.
Yeah, I think Harsha though, if he makes the right additions, that team can become a playoff
Yeah.
team, and everyone will look at that
The-
as like a massive success, a big turnaround.
Oh,
So
Sideshow's dying.
Jesus, look at that guy's
Jesus.
face.
Oh.
What the hell's wrong with that guy?
Is this
been
the?
Holy
You know,
hell.
I'm telling you, he's been
Oof.
hotboxing that room, and now it's getting to him.
Jesus. The hell you got in there?
That's it. When the devil's lettuce hits, I guess, you know.
God, he looks fucked.
Oh, he's doing it. He's dying, baby. He's
Is-
dying. Whew.
Is this
Holy fuck.
wrapping up Harsha? Is this the first time he's been a head coach? Because he's been assistant coach for like 3
yeah.
years. He was assistant coach, I know, of Cloud9 Europe, San Francisco Shock, and Vancouver Titans, and this is the first time he's a head coach.
Yep.
He has
I'm
great
also-
experience though.
Yeah,
I'm-
well, we'll
I'm
see if
gonna
he fill
play-
the skill set. There's a lot of times in like traditional sports, like coordinators or whatever, they step into the head coach role, and it's like there's not the same skill set. So like, I know
Yeah.
we're all friends with Harsha, we're super happy for him, but we'll see if he can make that kind of step up to fill the head coach role, because it's a
his-
different
his-
skill
I
set
spoke to
in
him.
terms of
I
like
spoke to
leading
him.
a team mentally
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I spoke to him about this, and I was pretty harsh with him. I said, like, listen,
Harsh.
a lot to prove here. Yeah, I was arguably quite harsh with him, and the thing is that he is in a very unique position where he has directly worked under and worked with both of the greatest teams in the league so far, and had a look firsthand at the coaching structure from Krusty, the tail end of 2018, and now he's worked under the Titans. And honestly, as well, a lot of people probably are going to underestimate the impact he had on Titans. But not only was he the liaison between the sort of upper management and the Korean side of the team, but he contributed a lot in terms of. Again, actually, my source here is Harsha, so I don't know how much to read into this. But, he has told me that you know, a big part of this the Titans kind of success is down to him. So
Not to gas himself up.
I think
Yeah,
I think
not to
the
gas
thing to Johnny's point, to wrap up Harsha, I think the thing that he'll probably struggle with the most is that he's so friendly with a lot of the players in the league that trying to come across as like an authoritative figure may
Yeah, he
may
doesn't.
be
He
difficult. At
doesn't strike me as
first.
a badass. He's not
Right,
going to go in there like
yeah.
a Deepay or a Krusty and whip you into shape.
And be
is
like,
he? But
fuck you, take
Yeah.
the contract,
He's
rip it
swole
up,
as
just send
fuck,
you
though.
fucking home, right?
he is massive.
Like, now
And
he's
he used to
wide
do
as he is.
wrestling as well. So he used to do wrestling when he was a lot
He's
smaller.
not wrestling his players.
Wide as hell.
Also I believe he's from Houston, right?
yeah, he is.
So he gets to go back home. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some coaching changes in other places. So Paris Eternal released Kai Kai. Do we think Kai Kai will find somewhere else in the league?
I don't think so.
He
How many-
expressed on
many-
Twitter that he could see himself doing Call of Duty. I could see that
Yeah,
happening.
I can see that as well.
Yeah.
I think Kai Kai's pretty bright.
Well, I mean, how many?
He had
second
more.
chances?
He'd have more
I can't
experience
comment
than a lot
on.
of Call of Duty coaches.
Yeah, I can't comment on Kai Kai as his performance because I haven't heard anything about his coaching
Yeah.
from any players or anything. I actually don't know how good he was, but it's just not a good look when two orgs have just kind of. Well,
But there are many coaches where two orgs have.
three orgs now, isn't it? He was on Houston and went to Dallas, or was he? On
Oh, no,
Dallas
no.
and
The Houston was super temporary, though, wasn't
Right.
it?
Yeah,
right.
the Houston
like-
was just kind of like
He was mostly on
Stop
Dallas,
it.
but Dallas was such a shit show. Like Kai Kai gets a lot of shit for not being able to fulfill Dallas or something, but Aero has come in and done
not. He
exactly
had no
the same.
He had no chance
yeah.
in that situation, Kai Kai. I mean,
I
it was a
feel you.
lose-lose, right? I mean, when his main tank effed off, then they had Taimu in the main tank role.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was just a mess, right?
There are so many problems with like the situation surrounding Kai Kai in Dallas that I don't think you can really look at
Yeah.
that. I've talked to the guy as well while kind of the beginning or middle of his tenure on the Paris Eternal, and while Paris were rejiggling all of their coaching structure, you know, where they Damon was removed or left, and then they had Feifei come into the head coaching role, and so they were going through that process again. And so I don't know whether Kai has really had an opportunity to showcase what he's capable of.
Right.
He's always been with teams that are kind of mediocre. I don't think that he's one of the strongest people for these kind of positions, but he's one of the most experienced, and he's fairly decent.
A few years ago, like what, 2 years ago, we thought he was one of the like his stock was pretty high in terms of coaching like 2 years ago.
But also there weren't
like,
that many other.
There also weren't
that.
Yeah, I guess true. We didn't really know what else was out there. Arrow to return as Dallas's head coach. Damon will not return as coach.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, Damon has now gone from Paris to Dallas, and both I've not heard of large impact, and he's now gone from both. So in terms of somebody that I don't expect really to return, I would say Damon. I don't know whether he's got plans to return to other teams or whether people would be interested, but it's a little unfortunate that hasn't gone the way for him. I'm more interested in Aero because I feel like there is an intense microscope on this guy now. Yeah. Like if this is last chance saloon, I think for Arrow.
I think you have to give him a chance to overhaul the roster. Like you cannot bring back the coach and bring back the same team.
No. But that's what Hastro said, right? He said expect even though contracts are locked in place. I think this was like the Dallas Morning News article.
Yeah, I'm looking for a quote here.
Yeah, the quote was something like, even though the contracts are locked in place, expect heavy roster moves for next season. Yeah. Which means even though they're going to have to buy their players out of contract or shift them over to streamers or do something.
They'll keep them on as like content creators and whatnot. Yeah.
I don't think this is the
that only works if they agree to it.
Yeah, and only works if they have enough money to just burn. They're just burning money.
So they didn't mention anything in regards to Jane Vol'jin and Tikati coming back. They just mentioned that Arrow's coming back. Damon is not.
Yeah.
Weird though.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty safe year for Arrow in a way, because I think that even if he fails this year, quote unquote fails, like I think Dallas as a team and the roster these past 2 years is enough of an excuse to make him earn a gig somewhere else next year.
I think Arrow would. I think he'd find something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that he'd be fired forever, but I wouldn't want to. If I was running a team and I have the choice of coaches to work with, I would not hire somebody that, at the end of 2018, failed to rehaul the roster effectively. Like he was the head coach that was brought in at the end of stage 4, and they didn't rehaul the roster in an effective way.
Well, most of those were 2-year contracts. Am I right?
Well, they are now. They're guaranteed contracts now. I mean, the situation is no different.
This is what Hastro said. Even with contracts being fairly locked in, we're definitely making roster changes to the team, and we're working to actively make those changes now. Yeah. And then only one Fuel player currently is not under contract, and that's Note.
Look, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he also, as a coach, I don't want to speak for him. Obviously, I have no insight, but I think Arrow is in no place to like criticize his roster or anything. But I think it's pretty obvious that he would have liked to have sick players on Dallas Fuel as well, but they were in a complicated situation. So I think that this is the year that he really has to change things, and he could prove himself as a coach. But even if it doesn't, Dallas Fuel as an organization has disappointed enough in the Overwatch League so far that I think that he could find a gig at like Toronto, Paris Eternal, like some of these smaller orgs that haven't really established themselves yet. And I think Arrow still has a chance in the long run as a good coach, because I think he's one of the honestly handful of coaches that has established themselves as like proper head coaches in the league. Yeah. I think that there's 20 teams in this league. There's 20 teams, and there's not 20 capable head coaches. And I think even next year, if things doesn't go well for Dallas this year, I think Arrow has a chance next year to come back and then fulfill the redemption arc. So this is a middle year for Arrow, in my opinion. And I think it's probably the last year with Dallas if it fails, but it's also not like his last chance ever to succeed.
They have 9 players under contract, 3 open roster slots. So to make wholesale changes, the players have to be moved via trade, released, which I don't think Hastro would do to some of those players that you'd be looking to release because they're like legends of the team, or transition to other non-player roles within the organization. And like for that type of stuff, you'd probably be asking some of these people to take like no cuts from their pay, from being a player to go into other parts of the organization and whatnot. It becomes very difficult to like they need a lot of pieces. Like this is not a
Yeah.
team like how we said with the Outlaws, like, hey, 2 supports, an off tank, and another damage dealer, like
Oh,
you're
no,
okay.
you got to blow up
This
Dallas.
is a way bigger task. Way bigger task.
I don't have confidence in Dallas.
Really?
To
Do you
that.
think it's a? Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think this
I
is.
don't have
I don't think
confidence
it's
in the
massive
franchise
though.
to do that,
I think
because
they have a great
Uh,
main support with Closer, and then they have Note on off tank.
They have a great
I don't
main
think-
support with closer. I mean, I wouldn't even agree with that. I don't think that I would keep closer
We
at
gotta
all.
watch how we use the word great.
This
He's-
feels like a franchise of all the moves they've made over the past 2 years hasn't really been focused on winning. It feels like. I mean, that's evident
Yeah.
with the long-term contracts they signed with Harry Hook and Mickey, and
the
But-
rumors
Uh,
about AKM being forced into the team. Just
yeah,
because
it feels like they're more worried about the clout than they are about winning. Honestly,
Well, Clout is dying down.
What
it's true.
like I would view like if I was like a in Harsh's position or somebody's in that position, I would view the Dallas job as way harder than the Outlaws one.
Yes, I totally agree.
Sure,
Especially because of the contract situation of their
Yeah.
players as well, because you don't know what management is going to be able to like free up for you.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
know
right.
which
Right.
players are going to be free and which ones aren't.
You would know which players you want, but how do you go about
Yeah.
getting them right?
Just to return though, Johnny, to your point about Aero, you think that Aero is like a one of the people that's proven themselves as a head coach. Why do you think he's proven himself as a head coach? Because outside of his time in Contenders, I haven't seen any evidence in the Overwatch League that this guy
Okay, so
is like a an established head coach figure that I would want on a top team.
well, outside of that success in Contenders, it's literally only the year with Dallas Fuel that we can all agree on was pretty scuffed. And I think with his success in Contenders, how much you want to credit him that or whatever, he's still a public figure that people likes. He has proven himself to be a very like it's easy to work with, the right word. Like he's a nice guy, you know. Like
Yes, he is.
he definitely has the traits to be a head coach. And I think that speaks volumes compared to some of these younger guys that's coming from like Contenders or whatever that have like high game IQ, but they don't really know how to manage a team when you're talking about like mentality and in those kind of ways. I think Arrow has that nailed down, but it didn't have the structure so far in Dallas Fuel last year to really make Dallas Fuel bloom in that kind of way. So I think
They
that
have like 5 head coaches. They have like a sick practice facility. What structure? What else do they need?
well, a good team.
Well,
I think it's like a
We
mentality.
had the whole
right?
offseason to do stuff.
It's a mentality
that's-
thing.
that's
You've got a
my
bunch
issue
of
with-
these players coming in from the first year, and
It-
they're still on the roster, and they're in Coast City. Like I've seen 3 stories this year of Mickey in Japan. You know, I feel like this team has like an ingrained culture in it where it's kind of like, well, time to coast. You know, time to I don't know. It feels like Dallas actually foster that kind of mentality as well as an all.
Sure, but I think they were also in a tougher spot than we give them credit for last offseason. Because they struggled in season 1, but then stage 4, Brig was introduced, and they actually started playing well, and they made the stage playoffs with Mickey playing Brig. And sure, you don't want to buy into the FOMO. You don't want to buy into the FOMO, but they had good results. They had a coach that everyone trusted in. But then, and they had probably the contracts locked in place already, and they were like, hey, we did well in stage 4 going into the offseason. We have a new coach. This is a new
But
Dallas
you had
Fuel.
to
That was the motivation. That was the
But you
energy.
had to
And then
have
you're
the-
like, okay, we don't have to blow up this team because we actually did
know.
perform well in stage 4.
But
And
you had to have the foresight to
sure,
be
they
like,
bought
it's
into the
not gonna
FOMO.
work.
They bought into the FOMO. They shouldn't have. They should have made more acquisitions. But at the time, I can see Dallas Fuel saying to themselves, hey, the Houston Outlaws of this year, they're like, hey, we don't have to make a ton of changes.
To be fair, they did what? They brought in Closer. They brought in Zachary.
They
brought
traded in for
Trill,
Note.
They brought in RCK. They traded for Note. I mean, they did try to make
But
moves.
there's no structure here. There's no idea of what the vision of the team is. There's no team culture in Dallas. From what I've heard, it was incredibly chaotic and also kind of full of turmoil and conflict within the team. Like this doesn't. Everything that I've heard about Dallas this season and the performance that they ended up having seems to indicate that they weren't actually living in a paradise constructed by an excellent coaching system. They were at each other's throats and having a difficult season of it. even if you have bad players, like I'm gonna compare. Like, do you think that Houston have better players than Dallas? Because I would say it's pretty similar.
I would say,
Yeah,
give me.
I haven't really thought about that because I don't care.
No, I would
Dallas
say,
has
better
I would
players.
rather take the core of Houston.
Would
No,
you?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd take
I think
Dallas.
individually skilled, I think Dallas has more individually skilled players. Like Node is better than their off tanks. OG is better than their main tanks. AKM can be better than
I
some
wouldn't
of the
bring
players.
him AKM, but I still think Closer's reputation has sort of been punished
Sure.
by the performance of Dallas Fuel as a team
I don't know.
overall.
I've seen Muma, Dante, and Linkser be successful in the league. We've seen Raucus be successful. I don't know if Raucus would be a starter, but if I have at least 3 players that you could be like,
Yeah.
they're not really that big of. I mean, we've seen Houston like
Who-
make stage playoffs in season
Yeah.
1. We've seen them like play well. Like,
Well, but that's kind of my issue is that Dallas look like they should be able to do that and they don't. And I think part of that is because they don't have a good system. They haven't put any thought into how the roster is constructed.
but you would think
work
though
together
with
and
the way
coaching staff.
Houston had everything dished against them, they would just fold to the way Dallas did, but they didn't. So
No, that's true.
that's
But
kind of where I think it comes down to like the team mentality,
Yes.
coaching, etc.
I don't
I'd
know.
like to leak a little bit of juice if that's okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, dispense the juice.
So I've been.
Bren just sits in the
thinking on
corner
this.
with his
Here we
shoe.
go.
I've been thinking about this for a while, and the best way to kind of leak this juice without getting anyone in trouble. But I think the best way is to just kind of say it, but not
What
say the
is
teams that are
happening?
involved.
Wait, what?
I don't know what's happening.
So this is an overarching juice tale that I've
Oh,
basically
okay.
I've been sniffing at the juice, and what it's told me is that from anywhere between 50 to 75% of the teams this year are going to blow up their rosters and go full Moneyball budget mode. This is the whispers, the rumors, and I've heard this from multiple sources now.
Honestly, it's smart.
Yeah, I think so. This
It's
kind
smart.
of goes into a discussion about sustainability of the league, right? Because you have to wonder where is the return on investment.
Okay,
of
let's
return.
lay out like the expectation. You mean kind of like how Boston do things where
Yes.
they're trying to pick
teams
up
will
players
try
and
and-
scout.
Teams will keep 1 or 2 star players and then fill it in with guys on.
Maybe not even star players
Players.
being picked up,
I
which
mean,
is the
that's
surprising thing. Things I've heard, teams where they fought so hard to try and get some players last year, probably not going to be returning.
As in
Makes
sold
sense.
to other teams or offered lower contracts or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is probably
Makes
to do with the
sense.
fact that people are traveling everywhere, right? And there's just so many more expenses for the
Mhm.
organizations.
Yeah. No, I mean it does make a ton of sense. Like if I was a team, I would probably try like do you have to spend a ton on like big name players or can you go like there's a lot of talent in contenders that it's not bad.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
You'd have to look pretty
this is
hard, but
probably the way to go. But the only way that it works is if you have the coaching staff in place to make it work.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I think this year, and I've said this opinion multiple times on Plat Chat, but a star player a team does not make. You can't just slot in a Decay, you can't just slot in a Cape and expect it to just fix all your team's problems and to get carried to a win. Maybe you could if it was a different meta than Goats, but across the board, it takes a little bit more than that. And it starts at the coaching staff a lot of the time. And it's been proven that, I mean, if you have a very good coaching staff, you can get very good results. For example, case in point, and look back to when Krusty was coaching Boston. And they went on a tear in stage 3 and they made it work. Now, granted as well, they had Striker, arguably the best trace in the world at the time as well, in a bit of a tracer meta. But
Yeah.
the point remains, they kind of found their own style and they were coached into a very, very good team at the time.
You said, I don't know whether you're being hyperbolic when you said 50 to 75% of the teams. You do realize that 75% of the teams is
15 teams.
15
yeah.
of the 20 teams.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of teams
Yes.
to starting to get rid of star
Wait,
talent.
Yes.
let's do this. Let's
Usually-
do
hold on,
this. Let's
usually-
do a thought experiment. Because
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. Let's go through all of the 20 teams and just like 5-second answers Do you think they'll blow up their
No,
roster?
honestly,
Yes or no?
you
And
know,
we can like tally up how many teams we think will blow up.
you
their
know how
roster.
we look at like Bren as like the crazy conspiracy guy on here.
Yeah.
I don't want to answer this because I know a lot of the teams.
I don't want to say I've heard similar.
But it's
I
just like you
don't-
leaked the
but
juice,
I don't
and we
think
can't talk
50
about the juice because there's no specific teams.
I don't think 50 or
And just what?
70% is that high. I think
Really? I mean, like
think-
50% seems reasonable if 10 teams were playing it. For there only to be 5
But
teams
Josh,
that
it's
are
just
looking
like
to keep
it's just like a
hold of
sport,
star
it's just
players
like
is
it's just like pro
wild.
sports though. You sign a team and you give them a run to try and make something happen. If it doesn't work, what do? They just blow the whole thing up. They send the players to other teams. They bring in a whole new roster, a whole new coaching staff. They redo the whole thing. It's not as far fetched.
But how
As
are they?
75% allowed.
But how is this even
Maybe.
saving money when there are more than 5 teams that still have guaranteed contracts on all of their players heading next year? So they would have to buy those players out of their contracts anyway. They'd
No,
end
well,
up-
those are the players you
tons
would
of money.
keep, and then you would just add.
Right, but like all of Chengdu are under contract. A lot of Seoul are under contract. A lot of Titans.
I think what
are
Bren
under
is probably
contract.
alluding to is the teams that had a lot of people signed for the first 2 years that picked up the second year options that are
Yeah.
free
Yes.
that now have a lot of
So,
space
A
are
lot-
going to.
so a lot of these teams. So in this statistic that I've seemingly pulled out of my ass, but not really, it's teams that are already on that existing model, and
Yeah.
they're just continuing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Someone in
Um,
chat actually made a very good point that in pro sports, people blow up teams to tank to get high draft picks.
Yeah.
There's no point in tanking in Overwatch League, so you don't have to blow up your team that much.
Yeah, but it's
It's a
even better
decent
though.
point.
It's even better though because there ain't no draft. You can just go and sign whoever you want.
Yeah.
There's no draft.
So I mean, people are going to be
You
listening.
still have structure to your team without having to blow it up.
People are going to be commenting on this piece of juice I've dished out, and Johnny, you're complaining that we can't even discuss it. But I know a lot of the teams, and it's going to surprise a lot of people, and I can't comment on it because it would just be unfair.
What? What's the point of the podcast if we can't
Well,
analyze
the
teams?
other
you
3 of us
discuss
can
it.
speculate.
You all can speculate, but I refuse to, and I don't know what's going on behind me.
This is
Someone's vacuuming.
sounds like someone's vacuuming.
In a weird scenario here, I will step out of the juice discussion as well.
Oh my word!
So
There's
me
none of
and
us left in the juice.
me and Bren can confirm our sources on the side conversation. But
I mean, Josh, you and me, we probably both have some juice, but we're still mature enough that we can discuss a topic without revealing all
Exactly.
the juice. We can be
We can
mature,
pretend we don't have the
analytical.
juice.
Yeah, we can pretend in a reasonable manner to not have juice.
Players, if you have inside
so
information, to keep it to yourself.
NYXL said today our contract. This is just news. So they said today our contract with Meko has come to an end. We thank Meko for 2 outstanding seasons and everything he's done for NYXL. So it sounds like he's gone.
Whoa.
pretty
This
big.
is what I was telling you guys on last week's episode, that I thought they would let Meko go, and they would try. They're going to go after Fury. They're going to try and acquire Fury.
That's
gonna
nuts.
happen.
Yeah, I could totally see that. But I wonder if
100%
Meko asked for too much money as well, though, because I can't think that Meko didn't want to re-sign. Like, why would you not negotiate at the beginning of 2019 if you didn't want to re-sign with NYX?
Well, he probably thought, like, hey, we're the number 1 or 2 team. Like, maybe I'll be the only one, right? I'll wait for everything to kind of to pick up. But now there's so many other people on the market that he kind of like, well, what does he?
Well, Meko's a huge free agent for everybody else, though. I mean,
Yeah.
the weird thing is, if everybody else is trying to blow up
Very
their
good
teams
player,
and fill
yeah.
them with mediocre talent, maybe they don't have the money to even pick up Meko.
But now, like, let's say if you're Dallas, like, what do you do? Like, if you have the option to go after Meko and let Note go, do you?
Well, isn't Note a free agent according to the website?
Right, but they want to bring him back.
I
Like,
think
you would
that
have-
salary
you would
has so
trade
much to
him
do with it.
Bring him back.
I think
Yeah.
that Arrow probably really likes Note and what it brings to the team, so I would expect them to re-sign Note to the team. I think Note's just solid. He's just,
let me see. Let me
it's
see.
just solid. It's just
You know who I want to see in New York? I want to see my boy Daco, dude. I want to see Daco live in New York and play in New York. That
That'd be
guy's
kinda baller,
crazy. I would love to see that shit. Get me Mono and Daco, dude. I'm
The guy's
fucking
got
all
some
about
swag.
that.
I'm about it.
Guy's
That
got
would be
some
swag.
dude. Fucking Daco and Sabio B and fucking Mono going to Zed.
But
Con.
doesn't
would be
that go
so
against your
good.
entire theory of Fury
I'm
to New York?
about it.
Yeah,
Huh?
but This is just in Matt's little
This
brain.
is my little brain.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to like see what goes on in Matt's brain because it's just like it's very simple. Like to everyone else, the brain is very complicated. Like we don't understand it, but to Matt, it's just like it's just like point A. It's a flow chart.
Does anyone else get satisfaction over the MYXL fan base freaking the fuck out when they release players?
Yeah,
every time I tweet about New York,
I feel
they
like
just...
I'm a bit like sadistic, but I just
they still have the first year MVP. They still have mono.
But they're just attached to them, and I just feel like, oh, you know, you're all so young.
But I like it though because like this team needed a shakeup. Like clearly, like they were just kind of like just doing whatever they were doing. They were going to get third place, second place, whatever. Like they needed some kind of like
they did
shakeup, so these guys understand like, hey, like this is not good enough. Like we need to take it to another level.
It's weird though, because Meko has played with Sebiobi since like for the last 3 years. You know, that was the only duo really in that team, of the old school duo of LW Blue, and they've now separated it. So I can see why the NYXL fans.
Meko could go to Washington and they could re-sign Giannis and they could put together the kind of NYXL.
But wait a second. All of the discussion and speculation we're now having about Meko is it's totally at odds, contradicting the statement that we had earlier that Bren's juice indicates that a bunch of people are not willing to spend on big free agents.
But Bren did say 50% of the league was.
No. He said 25 to 50% of the league was. That's 5 to 10 teams are willing to spend.
I think you're looking at that higher number. I think it's closer to the 50. I think it's closer to the 50%.
What implies that he's going to be signed on the same number as he was previously?
Well, no, but there would have to be a lot of pressure on these big free agents to reduce their salary really far down. Like for example, if there are 2 teams that want him, then his price is going to go up. Sure. But if he's kind of just left towards the end, then all right, his salary is going to go down. But it doesn't, like all of these market forces happen at the same time. So there are multiple teams trying to figure out if they can find cheap people, and if they can't, then there could be a bunch of star players just left over at the end.
Yes,
because they wanted too much money.
I mean, the way it usually works though is like, you know, your agent or whatever will like put out like a feeler to a bunch of other teams, people he knows around the league, and is just kind of like, hey, where do you think my guy is at, so to speak, right? And it may be like just one team's opinion, 2 teams' opinion, but then they'll go back to New York and be like, hey, you know, we don't have offers, but we've heard, you know, these types of teams, you know, are kind of viewing him in this range. Like, this is kind of what we want, and they'll work from there. So, like, if NYXL got like a crazy thing about Meko and they were like, no, you assume they have an idea of where he's going to go.
Yeah.
No, it'd be super interesting. Probably not an upgrade. Just interesting though.
Here goes the next one. The next Matt Morello. It's hypothetical idea.
Meko to the Titans.
I think that is kind of interesting because Meko and Jano are so similar in terms of their players and their play style.
Like Johnny Sigma was like really poor towards the end of the year. Like they had to take him out of the lineup at times.
We haven't even covered like some of the news as well.
Who the fuck cares about coaches when we got players?
You just want to speculate about random players to random teams.
Yeah, that's what
it is. It is more interesting though.
You think want to hear somebody's going to head coach somewhere and all their players are poo? Like nobody cares. That's what Johnny cares about.
We gotta do
Johnny
foreheads soon.
Johnny wants to be a coach, so he's
yeah.
He's trying to.
If I could be assistant coach for LA Valiant next season, I'd be so happy.
It's gonna be a very interesting offseason. I think it's. Yeah. I'm slightly concerned with Bren's juice that there's going to be a bunch of star players like Meko. I'll use him as an example because it's
they won't
hold out.
No, they won't.
For example, right, they don't even have to hold out though. Let's say, for example, there is a team. I'm going to use Chengdu because all of their players are under contract, and it seems unlikely that. But say Eamon was the hottest shit in the world. Everyone wants Eamon, but the Chengdu team has to try and trade him because he still has an active contract. But if they can't find a team to trade him to, they're going to have to drop him because they can't afford his contract. Now, I'm not saying that this happens with Eamon, but there are other star players in the league where they are paid a huge amount. The org might want to cut back, but if they can't trade their contract, they've just got to release him. They're going to end up releasing them really close to the end of free agency. Nobody's going to have space in their rosters to be able to pick them up for a large amount of money.
No, that's not
and
what
so
happened.
they'll just end up being like floating free
What
agents.
would happen?
Signed
What
for
would
very
happen
low amounts of
is
money.
they would wait. They would wait to the end. This is what you would do. You would wait to the end, and then I would go to Johnny. You know, let's use Johnny as my star player, for example. I'd say, hey, Johnny, you know, we really like you, but after looking through some stuff, I think we're just gonna have to release you. Johnny will be like, wait, what the fuck? Why? It's like, well, we need you to get down to this to be able to keep you on, because that's kind of where we think your worth is at, and we may have thought you were too good the first year. Johnny's gonna be like, okay, well, let's just renegotiate and give me something longer for that number, right? And then
No, why would Johnny do that though? He already has a guaranteed contract for like, say he has a guaranteed contract for 200K. He's not going to renegotiate back down to 100K.
But you have a guaranteed contract for just that year, and then they'll just you thrown out into the wild. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd fucking take that every day of the week. I'd take
right
200K.
Right before the teams are set and free agency's over.
Yeah. Star players need to step out of their comfort zone, get anxious, and get some good deals going with a good agent, and get their money's worth. Instead of being comfortable with a team.
Take like 200K, but I'm like.
Well, I was saying from the team's perspective.
Bought out of the contract.
You try and do, not the player
Yes,
perspective.
yeah. You have money, and then here's what I would do, honestly. So this is gonna sound weird, guys, but bear with me, all right?
I'd get a hot tub.
If I was in this position with 200K, right, and I'm on a contract, and they're like, "Oh, we can't afford to keep you on, but you know." Essentially, the team has to buy me out of the contract, so I get the 200K.
Well, it's not that they can't afford it; it's just they don't want to pay it.
Yeah, they don't want to pay it. So I was like, well, if you want me to leave, you're gonna buy me out of the contract, or trade me, right? They do that, bro. Go to fucking Korea, playing contenders for a year. Wait for this all to blow over, because I think this next year, I think a lot of players are not going to enjoy the traveling aspect, and there are going to be even more slots opened up for year 4.
Yeah, take the 200K and play in contenders, and then just wait to get picked up in 2021.
Okay.
What do you think, Dallas?
I mean, you'd have a good time in Korea. I'm telling you.
There's no.
You get far on that 200K. You get 10K. You go
200K in contender.
We never.
I play in contenders to 200K.
No. You get the 200K from the contract. you just literally bankroll yourself. You can live off 10K out
Dallas.
There. Not in my trip to Korea. That shit's cheap. I'm telling you.
Dallas can't move some of those contracts down to contenders, right? Or could they?
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, I think actually I don't think they can turn them into two-way. I don't think they can turn them into two-way players unless they were gonna renegotiate.
Well, let's say they agreed to pay them the same, but just amended it so they're two-way players and pushed them down.
Yeah, I think they could do that.
Do they take up an L? They still take up an L slot though, right?
Yes, they still take up an L slot.
So they'd have to make them full-time contenders players.
Yeah. And the issue is just that you'd be burning so much money because these players are on guaranteed contracts and you'd have to buy them out. And presumably you have to buy them out of the full amount. Or is there like an amount where
I have no clue.
It's like I don't know whether
that would be something that would be good information. No,
because it might be something where it's like you have to pay 6 months of termination pay or something.
Well,
it might not be the full.
It changes our whole conversation on buyouts and how you would.
But you would think if they have a guaranteed contract, they guaranteed that amount of money, even if you buy them out, you would have to buy them out full.
But you usually have to be like a certain amount of time to get the full amount.
Yeah.
So let's say you were on like a 2-year guarantee, right? It wouldn't be guaranteed for the second year the day you sign, like 3 months into the second year's term, like maybe the guarantee would hit, right? So there's different way it works. It's super interesting. I wish we had more info on free agency as a whole. I wish we had somebody who is like Bren, who could actually spew the juice, who kind of had all like what was going on with teams and whatnot, because that's the stuff that in all pro sports it's like the best, like the off season when you hear free agencies popping off and whatnot.
Yeah, I know that Benchmob did a bunch of stuff last year about it, and if you can pass your way through his semi-English, Halo of Thoughts occasionally writes tweets and stuff about what he found out.
maybe it's just a little bit too early to get like some at player announcements and stuff because teams are still sorting out their GMs, still sorting out their coaches. Like the gauntlet just ended, right? So it's difficult.
Alright. Do we have to go record foreheads now?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
soon. Golden Boy's waiting.
Oh boy.
Are you gonna stream foreheads too, Johnny?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. We've been live for an hour.
Yes, I think we got some
Josh, are you
a
muted?
little bit of juice flowing.
Yes. Yeah, I muted myself by accident because I was coughing.
Alright. What team in the league do you not want to talk about? Bring it on.
Do I don't want to talk about?
Yeah, post the question.
I want to talk
End
about
Oh,
everything.
End
Bren,
it.
Bren, why don't we talk about Yakpun getting released from Toronto?
Absolutely not.